Hi guys, a very good evening. Maswera say welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And this evening, we need to talk about some sensitive issues in the nation of Zimbabwe. For a very long time, I have not talked about um, these issues, but let us take a look and explore. At this moment in time, Zimbabwe is facing critical moments. Yes, the government is pretending as if everything is okay, but I can tell you that it's not okay. What is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe at this moment in time, those in the leadership positions, especially within ZANU PF ranks and files, they are not sleeping. Akuskurarika. Why? It's because SADC issued a report and they were on the forefront telling the people of Zimbabwe to ignore that report which was issued by the SCOM. But SADC surprised them. They held an extraordinary summit. The issue was raised, was tabled, and a resolution was made against Zimbabwe that a set of elders were supposed to come to Zimbabwe to deal with this issue. These elders were blocked. They were not given access to the nation of Zimbabwe. So they couldn't come. They couldn't force themselves uh, into Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe does have or had a timeline where they were supposed to actually make an invite to these leaders. But the ZANU PF-led government failed to do so. And what is next is that SADC operates in such a way where every country is obliged to actually follow the guidelines, the SADC guidelines and principles, and especially the resolutions made by the head of states summit. So as agreed, ZANU PF must be presenting a report to SADC, but they were supposed to do so after an investigation or through a committee of elders, but it didn't happen in that way. So there are reports that SADC used other methods to get the necessary information from the opposition Triple C, or to get a response from the opposition Triple C, so that they can move forward. That is the reason why you are seeing they wanted to force Nelson Chamisa onto the negotiating table through massive recalls. He refused. They wanted to portray a situation where Nelson Chamisa has lost the grip of the Triple C. They failed. So right now, the decision is now on the ZANU PF leaders to actually reconsider talking to Nelson Chamisa or letting the SADC elders come in, failure of which Zimbabwe will be hit with sanctions. SADC will not let this go. Zimbabwe will face consequences and probably sanctions will be imposed on Zimbabwe. Reason being, a lot of people are saying Nelson Chamisa should have gone to court to prove that he lost this election. How do you go to court to prove that you lost an election which was not done according to the dictates of the law and was noted within the SADC report? That is a very key issue which was raised during the ongoing discussions in Botswana, because ZANU PF then sent a delegation to Botswana to negotiate. And these very important points were raised. The SCOM report is there. ZANU PF never challenged the SCOM report officially. So that report stands. So there was no need for Nelson Chamisa to approach any court of law when the SCOM report is clear that elections were not done according to the laws or according to the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Elections were not done according to the guidelines and principles which govern democratic elections within the SADC region. Those are two key issues. So when you're dealing with SADC, those are the issues which must be met, which must be fulfilled. So Nelson Chamisa knew that taking this matter to court was futile, and he was simply going to legitimize the government which is in Zimbabwe, because any other ruling which would have come after the SOM report would mean the Zimbabwean government had done things correctly. So that was a trap there. And Nelson Chamisa knew about it and didn't go to the courts, which means the SOM report is the last standing document on the issue of Zimbabwe, which means since Zimbabwe has failed to guarantee the landing of the SADC elders, what it means is sanctions will follow. They will be sanctioned. They are not going to be allowed to participate in some activities and events within the SADC region. It is going to be tragic. So the survival of this government at this moment in time, honestly speaking, is now dependent on Nelson Chamisa. So Killers Evu here is talking about history, which is about to repeat itself. And he says, a special office in Botswana is poised to follow in the footsteps of its predecessors. What is this office supposed to do? This office is supposed to make a move like the one during the Thabo Mbeki era. They made a move on Mugabe. They forced Mugabe onto the negotiating table, and Mugabe had to negotiate with Morgan Tsvangirai, and Thabo Mbeki came to facilitate. This is what Killers Evu is saying, and this is the latest information at hand, Team Zimbabwe. And the lions don't surrender easily, but they will eventually adapt to the betterment of the jungle. So, information within ZANU PF itself, the morale is fading up. If you go to the support base of ZANU PF, morale is fading. People are no longer trusting this leadership at all, which makes it more difficult for the regime in Harare to survive. They've been surviving through the people in the rural areas. And if these people dump the party, then there is chaos everywhere. And you start to see calls for the replacement of the ZANU PF leadership very, 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 very soon. You start to see some breakaway youths forming some groups and calling for the removal of President Mnangagwa. That will start to happen soon because of the disgruntlement which is there. And ZANU PF will try to make an attempt to save itself. So President Mnangagwa has made a decision to sink together with ZANU PF, has made a decision to sink ZANU PF entirely and to actually make ZANU PF go into extinction. This is what is going to happen. So at this moment in time, Nelson Chamisa is saying there was no election in Zimbabwe. So there is no need for us to have any form of a GNU. Let us just have free, fair, credible elections. A winner, a winner. This is what Nelson Chamisa is saying. He's saying, varume havari kuti vari kudiwa nevanhu, varume havari kuti vakawina. Why can't we do an election? So whatever you see happening right now, the use of Shavangu and everyone else, I'm told that it's a way of trying to end the popularity of Nelson Chamisa. It's a way of trying to make Nelson Chamisa a bad person. And I'm going to bring another live program, which is and show you how they are organizing it, how they're doing it to try and discredit Nelson Chamisa. But the results of the just ended by-elections, where Triple C candidates were barred to participate from that election, and people didn't vote for Shavangu, that was a clear confirmation, which is giving ZANU PF goosebumps at this moment. And they are afraid to go to the 3rd of February elections. They are actually thinking, should we remove Triple C candidates linked to Nelson Chamisa, or should we leave them on the ballot? They are undecided on that. So they are trying by all means possible to contain the situation. They are trying by all means possible to create an environment where people will say Nelson Chamisa appear, but they are failing to do so. So strategic ambiguity is at work. Nelson Chamisa's silence is paying off because they would have used Nelson Chamisa's words each and every day, but he remains quiet and he remains consistent. So there is consistency in Nelson Chamisa's message. What he has been saying is what he's still saying, and that is creating confusion. So at this moment in time, SADC will not let the situation in Zimbabwe go just like that. A decision should be made, which means the ZANU PF government and the opposition will be forced to come onto the table to negotiate. And Nelson Chamisa will be negotiating for fresh elections. ZANU PF will be negotiating for a GNU. And the major question, which is going to give ZANU PF hard times, is that Nelson Chamisa is going to say, okay, you are talking about a GNU. Let us use the results which are there. And according to the actual Zimbabwe Electoral Commission results, Nelson Chamisa won this election, which means they will be in trouble. If Nelson Chamisa says, let us use the actual results to determine who is going to be the president, what it means is Nelson Chamisa will have to take over as the president. The major question is, will President Mnangagwa go on as the vice president, or he will have to leave his deputies, or he will have to second some people to be in a sort of a GNU with Nelson Chamisa. Those are very important issues to Zimbabwe at this moment in time. Some sources are saying there is a thought of seconding one of President Mnangagwa's sons as a VP. That is another proposal, but it has been heavily contested within ZANU PF because of some people who believe that they might have a potential to defeat Chamisa in 2028. So they are saying even if you are to opt to give the presidency to Chamisa now up to 2028, then the vice presidency should be maintained on some senior key people, because once they leave office, it will be their end. So a lot is happening in Zimbabwe at this moment in time, and we need to keep watching and remain patient and hopeful. Things are going to change for the good, and I assure you that change is coming to the nation of Zimbabwe, and the people of Zimbabwe will be surprised how, but change will definitely come to the nation of Zimbabwe. So I don't want to take much of your time. The latest decision on Zimbabwe, in conclusion, is that SADC want to make it clear that they are not going to argue with Nelson Chamisa. They want a decision to be made, and Nelson Chamisa is having an upper hand. If Nelson Chamisa decides for a GNU, then SADC will follow. If Nelson Chamisa decides for a re-election, then a re-election should be organized. That would be the ruling of SADC. So at this moment in time, they are trying by all means possible kuti kana tichizodzokera kuelection naChamisa ngatidzokere naye ari weak and divided, but they've lost their plot, because Nelson Chamisa this time around he will be going to the election with the best candidates ever, and there is a possibility of Nelson Chamisa forming a stronger alliance with some key individuals who are part of the decision maker. So if Nelson Chamisa is to make or is to come up with such an alliance, then you'll see what you have never seen in the history of Zimbabwe. There won't be any ZANU PF to talk about, because a lot of people are tired. Almost everyone is tired because of personalization of the party ZANU PF and of the government. It has been treated as a family business for a very long time. So this is what we have for you at this moment in time. Expect sanctions on Zimbabwe any time from now, from not act in time and does not deliver. deal with this matter. So I don't want to take much of your time. We do not need to go beyond 15 minutes. We have overstayed here, but I'm going to bring a lot of episodes which are going to enlighten you on what is going to happen next. So you have to make sure that you have subscribed and you have turned on the notification bell so that you don't miss out these very important updates. And I'm not going to stop up until we end giving you those very important updates. So stay tuned.